Let's go for another tutorial, this time of this original beanie. I will let you grab your 4.5mm crochet hook and a corresponding yarn. I used some scrap yarn of about 200 meters. I began with a foundation chain with a length of about 25 centimeters, or if you want a precise number, you can make 51 chain stitches. Then single crochet starting from the second stitch from the hook and crochet 13 single crochets. Put a stitch marker on a 13th single crochet and continue with a single crochet in each stitch across. At the end, chain 1 and turn. To begin the next row, starting from here and for the entire work, we're going to make only back loop single crochets, meaning the furthest loop of the stitch. Keep on making back loop single crochet in each stitch to the stitch before the marker. So if you had 50 stitch on the first row, you should have 37 on the second one. 50 minus 13 is equal 37. Chain 1, turn, and back loop single crochet across. We are going to work with ribbing, going back and forth for each rib, so the bottom of the beanie, which is at the left, will not change. Move the stitch marker of 4 positions. So here I leave 4 stitches available and I put the stitch marker on the 5th, still on the first row. Same here, we are going to make a rib, so working in back and forth. So chain 1 and back loop single crochets. Here is the last stitch of the previous row. And continue directly in the next stitch of the first row until we reach the stitch before the marker. So if you had 37 stitches in the previous row, this one counts 41 single crochets. 37 plus 4. So here is the 4th, and same for the back, chain 1, turn, and back loop single crochet across. Move the stitch marker of 3 positions, so leave 3 stitches available after the last rib we just made, and put the stitch marker in the 4th. And same, crochet your rib to the last stitch available just before the stitch marker. Then move the stitch marker of 2 positions and crochet the rib. And after that, move of 2 positions, still with 2 stitches available. Crochet the 5th rib. This time we move the stitch marker of just 1 position and crochet the rib number 6. After the 6th rib, there is only 1 stitch left on the first row. So here we're going to make the symmetric of the first 5 ribs. So here I put the stitch marker in the very first stitch of the last row, and as you already know, make the rib to the stitch just before the stitch marker. Here's the 4th, and then go back. We're going to put the stitch marker in the second stitch on the last row, on the rib number 7. When the rib is done, move the stitch marker in the second stitch of the rib number 8. And then in the third stitch of the rib number 9. And at last, in the 4th stitch of the rib number 10. And here we have 11 symmetrical ribs, and we're going to make a last row going to the end. And you already know, when you have crocheted on all the stitches on a rib, you just continue on the lower one. So if you had 50 single crochets in the first row, you should have also 50 single crochets on this one. And here we have finished the first quarter of the beanie. We need to have 4 of that. So chain 1 and turn. You can go back at the top of this video to make the exact same thing. So here I make 30 back loop single crochets. I would just like to precise not to make the last row of the 4th repetition, because we're going to close the beanie on that last row. So I'll let you repeat the operation 3 times more, and we're going to assemble on the very last row. And I put the stitch marker on the 13th single crochet. So here I have my 4 quarters, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to close the beanie on this very last row. So as usual, we turn and chain 1 to start the row. Then we're going to insert the hook in the very first stitch on the foundation chain, just following the slip knot, and we're going to make the back loop single crochet as usual. So here in the first stitch, I pull up the loop, then yarn over and pull it through the 3 loops. I'm going to show it again. Insert the hook in the next stitch on the foundation chain, and then make the back loop single crochet on the other side just as usual, just like a slip single crochet. And again in the next stitch on the foundation chain of the opposite side, and then in the back loop of the main side. Pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through. And continue just as usual on the row. Just insert the hook in the foundation chain before making the regular single crochet. Here is the very last connection. I make a final chain 1, cut the yarn and leave a long tail, pull tight. Let's close this hole. Use a tapestry needle, and I'm going to pass a needle on the tips of the 4 longest ribs. And the last is the first one. Pull and let's make a knot. And the last step is weaving the ends and turn it inside out to put it on the right side. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and to like this video if you did. You can ask me questions in the comment section and share it to your crocheter friends. And tag me if you want to share your work. Happy crochet and stay warm!